Okay. So today actually we are going to deal with database stages, and generally what are the various categories of database stages that we will be looking into. Like we will be coming across ODBC Enterprise, ODBC Connector, Oracle Enterprise, Oracle Connector, and generally what is the basic difference between connectors and general enterprise editions. As you just worked on those, right? You have got some experience with might be some Oracle or some DB2 stages, right? Have you ever opened?
Yeah, right now I'm
DB2?
dealing with both DB2 and ODBC.
Yeah. Have you worked with enterprise editions or connector versions?
Not yet.
No. What I'm asking is, have you ever looked into or have you had the look and feel of connector and the enterprise editions?
No, I worked only with the connector. Enterprise, I haven't opened it all.
Okay, fine. So the basic difference now, what I'm going to tell you the basic difference between ODBC Enterprise and ODBC Connector. Okay, then I will be telling you what is the actual difference between ODBC Enterprise and Oracle Enterprise. Okay, now please note down some of the points when we are speaking something about ODBC Enterprise and ODBC Connector, right? In Enterprise, we cannot list data source names. Have you ever heard of these data source names, Nilma? See, if we go to start.
Yeah, we go to that administrative task and everything we give there
Exactly.
our ODBC connections here.
Exactly. If you go to control panel, administrative tools, here we are having data sources, right? Click on this data sources. Here you will get this particular small window. Inside this window, we will be creating data source names. Actually, see, any operating system would come up with some of the plugins in order to connect to some of the databases. Okay, so it will not be having any native plugins. It will be having a generic plugin which will be helpful to connect to any of the databases. Okay, that is called as ODBC driver plugin. Okay, that would come up with our Windows operating system itself. Now what happened? Now we are having various data source names being shown up here, right? What is the difference between user DSN, system DSN and file DSN is, user DSN means if you create any data source name here, data source name is nothing but intermediate connectivity between database and your current operating system. Okay, operating system internally will be having a ODBC plugin. It actually helps you to connect to a particular database through your operating system. Now DSN is a name a named identifier which helps you to connect to that particular database. Without this, you can't directly connect to a database. If you want to use a particular connectivity in any application, not only Datastage, let us say if you want to connect to some Oracle database through ODBC plugin of your operating system using Java, you have to create a data source name. Okay, you are able to follow me, right? So now,
yeah.
So in order to create the data source names, right, you need to come up to this particular stage, administrative tools and data source names, and then here you will be able to see a lot of variants in data source name like user DSN, system DSN, file DSN and all. The difference between user DSN and system DSN is user DSN will help you to create DSNs that are specific to users. Now I have logged in with, let us say, not with the admin credentials and let us say just ROM credentials. That means user credentials. I have logged in with the user credentials. Now whatever data source name that I create here, right, that cannot be used by other user who logs into the same system. Okay, this is user specific data source names. So now if you create a data source name using system DSN, right, it is something like a global thing. If I create a DSN, the same DSN can be used by you also once you log into the system. Okay, so you understood what is the difference between user DSN and system DSN, right? User DSN is specific to user, whereas system DSN is global to all the users. File DSN means there is a way to create DSNs that can access files also. Okay, that is the general difference between your generic user DSN, system DSN and the file DSNs. Okay, don't worry about these drivers and all. Those are generic page where you'll be having all the drivers related info. Now, while creating these DSNs, right, just click on add button, you will be able to see lot of DSNs shown up here. Okay, Hi Lance.
Hi, Ram.
How are you doing here?
I'm good, thanks. How about you?
No, Nilma, I will be just muting you for a moment, okay? Or can you log back within some 5 minutes, Nilma? I just wanted to speak once with Lance. Will that be fine? Hello, Nilma?
I'm closing 1 second.
Okay. Lance?
Yeah, hi.
I actually seen your mail, Lance, regarding these, you are having some concern, it seems, right?
Yes.
What is your actual concern?
Well, honestly, Ram, I mean, nothing against you. You're teaching a good class, but
Okay.
I have seen this material before, and I took the IBM course that this is based on, and I signed up for this class based on the first night that I got to watch. That night, you had your own material, not the IBM material, and I got a lot out of that. But the nights since then, I have not got much out of.
No, the point here is, Lance, see, now we are discussing about these, what we say, Datastage, which came out of IBM, right? IBM is having people who go to company wise and they will be teaching the people. Okay. So similarly, in past, they have come to our own companies and they have taught the classes. Okay, so what would happen while writing the PPTs and all, right, we will take some of the inputs from what all the presentations that they have given. See, eventually the concepts that we would be discussing are like partition techniques and all only, right? So for that particular partition techniques, if I feel that slide is apt, right, I will be placing that slide. It is not something like I should be creating the slides or I should design a tool, right? So whatever tool that they have provided me, whatever the content that IBM has documented, that one will be discussed, right, generally, as the tool is being provided by IBM. You understood, right? My point here. And the slides wise, we have completed our theory just after 2 classes after joining itself. From then on, we are discussing only about practical stuff. I never opened any PPTs, or you haven't seen any logos of IBM in my PPTs, right?
Well, the 2 or 3 classes that I attended were all IBM slides.
That's what. Why? Because that is IBM related tool, and we will be discussing those partition techniques and all, right? That one will be documented by them only. That is because their own tool. And the slides which I have taken, okay, it is also being prepared by some people in the IBM. Okay, so we will be in touch. Generally speaking, people who are giving the sessions in IBM, right? Those people are from knowledge proliferation sessions of IBM. Okay, we would be taking the PPTs from them, and sometimes when we had chats with them, we would be sharing our PPTs also. Eventually, it is not created by IBM. It would be created by a person who is teaching there. Anyhow, you are having any problem with the content which I am disclosing or which I am giving you in understanding perspective and all?
Well, Ram, your knowledge is good. It's not a question. But you are not presenting stuff that is new to me, having taken and only taken the IBM class. Most of what you have presented I got from the IBM class, so I'm having trouble justifying the time to attend the class, given that you have not presented anything independent from the IBM class that I took.
Yeah, Lance, actually before joining the session itself, I told you like these are all the topics that I would be discussing, right? So for that particular topics, whatever the content that I am teaching would be universal. If you go to any other what is a person who can teach the data stage, or if you get training from any other IBM guy also, the same thing would be repeated again. You understood, right, what I mean to say? So if a particular topic like partition techniques, he will be able to teach the same partition techniques if you go anywhere. Okay, so that would be the scenario, right? Generally asking.
Yes,
Today when I have seen that, so today when I have seen that mail, right, I was really confused. why, what is this point about IBM? So when we are discussing about IBM related tool, we will be disclosing only IBM related documentation, right? So I'm really worried, like what is the point there, why Lance was disappointed with the training stuff and all. I kept thinking for 2 minutes actually because of that. So what is actually happening there, and why he got disappointed? Is there something which I thought in a wrong way or in wrong direction, something like that?
No, it's not you, Ram. It's just I'm not getting any value from participating.
I understand your concern, Lance. Actually, I understand your concern. Your concern is you are actually enrolled for a Datastage external trainer from IBM directly. So whatever content he is teaching, the same content is being repeated here. That is what your point, right?
But basically, yes.
I understand your concern, but generally this training, whatever we are going to cover, right, the same content would be again repeated by him. Why? Because the same topic would be disclosed by them also in your company, generally speaking. Okay, so what I will do as a value add at the end, I will give you server jobs related what is stages and all. And the corporate trainings, generally they won't discuss with you all the stages which we are discussing. Okay, they will be having handful of stages and they would be, it is corporate training only, right, Lance?
Let's say that last bit again, Ron.
No, is that corporate training or that you have enrolled something personal?
No, it was corporate. It was the IBM course.
Yeah, that is, but they will not be in a position to teach you all the stages. Remember that they will be, I know about their training and all. So if you observe complete training, right, they will not be covering complete stages and they will not cover server jobs and all. So as you are speaking about the value add for you, okay, at the end, right, I will be giving you some.
Sorry, Ram, hold on.
Hey, hello?
Can you turn your microphone off?
Sorry, Lance?
Echo. We're getting a lot of echo.
Echo, you are hearing a lot of echo.
Nalima has joined us and probably has a microphone on.
Yeah. Nilma,
okay.
Please be
Ram,
on mute for a minute.
I'm interested in getting all of them, but I really don't want to sit through stuff that if 3/4 of the presentation is stuff I already know.
Okay.
That's hard to justify. Is it possible for you to tell me when you're going to be doing the unique stuff? It is not in the course.
Just 1 minute. Okay. What is the question once again? Unix stuff?
When would you be presenting the stages that are not in the IBM course? Is it possible?
No. See, the thing is, no. The thing is, you just get what are all the things that they are going to teach in their class, and you are having this big classes course content, right? You just compare with those. You will find out that lot of stages they will be missing. If you want, I can send you directly IBM what is the slides that they are going to teach you and the IBM practices that they are going to give you, the lab material that they are going to provide you. I have got the complete content with me. And the other one, and the other thing, they will not be able to teach you the server jobs and all also. So what I would do at the end, as you are worried about two things being heard at a time, like two trainings being heard at the same time and for the same course, what I would do at the end, I will be providing you server jobs tutorial also. It's not like PDF. I will give you some video classes for server jobs also, which cover major server stages as well. Okay, that is the thing that I can promise. Okay, you understood, right?
Ram, I appreciate that. My issue is my time. And only that. I do not want to sit in front of the screen listening, and again, nothing against you. You're doing a great job. But I don't want to be sat here listening to stuff I already know. Can you give me a schedule of when you would be doing different stuff, or what part of the class you would be doing unique different stuff that I could join?
Okay, I understood. So that you want to join based on the stages which we would be discussing and which will not be covered by the IBM people, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So what I would do, not a lot to ask, but that would make it valuable to me.
Yeah, no problem, Lance. So see, today and tomorrow we would be discussing about these Oracle stages. These database stages. Right. And from Tuesday morning onwards, we will be starting up with the processing stages. Okay. From Tuesday my time means your Monday night. Okay, I would be starting out with the processing stages.
Okay. So right now you're just accessing relational database through ADBC.
Now I am going to discuss something about these Oracle Enterprise Edition and ODBC Enterprise Edition. Probably you might be knowing about them and how to use it, right?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, those things I am going to repeat now. Okay, today and tomorrow it would be like Oracle. Today and tomorrow it would be something like our ODBC and Oracle Enterprise Editions only.
Okay, yeah, I know quite a lot about ODBC. Okay, I will listen in a little bit, and would it be possible for you to write down a schedule?
Yeah, sure, definitely. On daily basis, what are the stages that I'm going to cover? You wanted to know. Based on that, you will be joining the class, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, Lance. After this session, right, I would be sending you the on daily basis what are the stages that I'm going to cover going forward. So that based on that, if something is being missed by your IBM trainer, right, you can join the session. Clear?
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah, okay, Lance. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lance. Hi, Juliana. So,
Hi,
somehow we haven't started the class yet. Okay, I just start over the class, and I'm sorry, Nilima, actually some 30 minutes is being wasted for you. And Juliana, actually I started with ODBC Enterprise Edition. Okay. Now I'm just giving differences between what are the differences between ODBC Enterprise Edition and ODBC Connector. Generally, what would be the difference between the Enterprise and Connector? That is what I'm speaking. Just started over with that one. So generally, the differences are something like, see, first before starting this thing, we need to create data source names. So what is the meaning of data source name means? You see, every operating system will be having ODBC plugin within it to connect to any database, right? That thing you will be knowing. So to create any data source name, right, go to Start, Settings, Control Panel. Here in the Administrative Tools, okay, you will be able to see data sources. Double click on that and you will be able to see all the data source names that you are allowed to create. Okay, data source names are something like named identifier for a connection. Okay, now let us say your operating system is having ODBC plugin within it and you want to connect to some Oracle or some other database, right? Internally, your operating system provides you with those plugins, those generic plugins. So you need to create a named identifier for that particular connection, and you can use that particular identifier in any of the what we say programs, maybe Java programs or whatever may be the applications. Okay, that is a named identifier which you can use across all the applications. Now I'm going to create a particular DSN. Here if you observe,
I can't see the screen, Ram.
Oh, sorry, I haven't shared it. Yeah. So you understood what is DSN, right, Juliana?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to the Settings, Control Panel. In the Administrative Tools, I'm clicking on Data Sources.
Okay.
Here we are able to see user DSNs, system DSNs, file DSNs, drivers and all. So here we will be creating the data source names. So when we are speaking about user DSN, that means this particular DSN is specific to users. So if we create any DSNs here, right? If let us say I have logged into the system with RAM user ID and not the admin user ID, and here if I create any DSN, that DSN will not be used or cannot be used by other user who logged into the system. So it is something user specific DSNs that I am going to create. These DSNs here I can create DSNs for Oracle, DB2, MS Access and Excel files, whatever may be the application that I am going to connect. My operating system will be enabling me to create the DSNs from this particular window. So this is user DSN. Remember, user DSNs are specific to user IDs. Now coming to the system DSN. So system DSNs are like global DSNs that I am going to create. Global in the sense, see, whatever that I am going to create here can be used by any person who logs into the system. Okay, so remember, DSNs are nothing but connected or named identifiers for some connections. Here if I click on add, see here various plugins that are there inside the system are being shown. Okay, see IBM DB2, okay, driver for connecting to Microsoft Access, okay, Informix database, Oracle database, okay, SQL Server, Teradata, even Excel sheets. So a lot of drivers are being provided to me. Now I am interested only with Oracle. So what I am going to do?
Yeah.
I am going to create IBM Oracle. Okay, once I click on finish, right, it asks me to enter the data source name, let us say RAM new data source, and then I need to provide some optional description and the server name, okay, and then I can create the DSN. Okay, if once I create that one, see, I will be getting that particular name here in this format. Okay, I have used I showed you an example of IBM Oracle. Here I have used Microsoft ODBC for Oracle. Okay, here see, for Oracle itself, there are lot of drivers being installed inside our operating system. Now I can use either IBM Oracle, but now in the one which I have showed you, I am currently using Microsoft's Oracle version. See, Microsoft ODBC for Oracle. This is the one which I have used. Once I click on finish, right, it is going to ask me for optional data source, the data source name and then optional description and then the username and the server to which I need to connect. Okay. Once I provide all these details, right, I will be able to create a Oracle connection here in this way. This is the DSN which I would be using in my Datastage enterprise editions and all and connector editions. Okay, you understood how to create a DSN, right? Go to control panel, administrative tools, click on data sources, a small pop-up window would come. There you need to provide your you need to decide what is the connector that you are going to create, a data source name that you wanted to create, like for Oracle or for DB2 or some Excel file also you can create. So based on that particular database, you provide the appropriate server name. So according to my installation, the server would be ORCL, Oracle for Oracle. So based on the installation that has been done within your system, your server name gets changed. Okay. So now you understood how to create data source names, right? Yes. This data source name you should use within the Datastage to connect to the appropriate databases. Now just note down some of the differences between ODBC Enterprise and ODBC connectors. So these differences are in generic way. Okay. Now when we speak about enterprise editions, right, we cannot list the DSNs that we have created. When we say list, right, inside the enterprise edition, I don't have any option to see what are all the DSNs that are there within the system where this installation has happened, right? Inside this system, whatever DSNs are there, I cannot see. From the enterprise edition, I cannot see. If I want to see what are all the data source names that are there, I need to come to I need to come here and I need to double click here and I need to see what are all the data sources that are there. In enterprise edition, we can't see in the stage itself. Okay, whereas in the connector, right, there is an option for you to view what are all the DSNs that are there in the system. What are all the system DSNs that are there inside this particular system directly in the connector stage. Here you are able to understand, right, what I am saying?
Yes.
And also here DSNs whatever we have created, right, whether they are connecting properly and all, also we need to test it. Okay. So that particular testing option is not there in the enterprise edition. Okay, again we need to come here and we need to ensure that your database connection is set up and your DSN is working. We need to verify it here only. Whereas in connector stage, right, there is an option for you to test whether the DSN is going to work or not. Okay, and remember your enterprise editions, they can read sequentially. They cannot read parallelly. Remember this point. Our ODBC enterprise editions or whatever may be the enterprise editions, right, they will not be in a position to read sequentially, but they are in a position to write sequentially. Okay, you observe the difference when you use ODBC enterprise stage at the source and when you use ODBC enterprise stage at the target. So when I say ODBC enterprise edition being used at the source means it is meant for reading something, right? So it reads sequentially, okay, and writes parallelly. You can't read parallelly using enterprise edition. Whereas ODBC connector, right, it reads as well as writes parallelly. It is having that particular capability to read as well as to write parallel. Okay. Yeah. Now coming to the major point from enterprise edition, right, you will be having schema reconciliation in connector, whereas you don't have the schema reconciliation feature in ODBC enterprise edition or in fact any other enterprise edition. So what is the meaning of schema reconciliation means? See, in any stage in the columns tab you are going to mention the column names, SQL types and the constraints, right, in the columns tab. Okay, and let us say while reading one of the column has got mismatch from the data type perspective. Let us say you are trying to read a particular record which is having employee number field as string, but inside your columns tab of the stage, let us say you have mentioned it as some number. Okay, so there is a discrepancy in the data type mismatch, right? There is some discrepancy in the data type, so it resulted in data type mismatch. So in that case, generally what would happen? Our job gets aborted, right? You are able to understand, right, Neelima and Juliana? Yeah. So if there are any differences in the data type that it is reading, generally our job should fail. But because of this schema reconciliation feature in ODBC connector, right, it would just throw you a warning in the director saying that, boss, there is some discrepancy in the data types. Okay, but for now I am not aborting the job and I am proceeding ahead with the next record. Okay, so because of that schema reconciliation, your job won't get aborted, and it deals with this data type mismatch. Okay, and data length mismatch and all will be taken care of. You understood what is the feature of this schema reconciliation, right?
Yes.
So what is the actual feature? So if there is any discrepancies from the data type end, okay, or that means if there is any data type mismatch or data length mismatch, right, generally our data stage job should get aborted. But if you are using connector stage, internally the schema reconciliation feature is there. So what it does, if such sort of discrepancies come into picture, right, it just sends warning to the director and it proceeds processing the other records. Okay, so your job won't get aborted. That is an additional feature that you are having in ODBC connector. Okay, and from performance end, right, always enterprise editions are poor compared to ODBC connector. The reason is connectors will be using CLI interface internally, which is very much advanced, whereas our ODBC enterprise, it uses our our operating system's general ODBC plugins. Okay, they are not some database specific plugins, they are generic plugins, they are open database connectivity plugins. Okay, so their performance would be generally poor. So now you are able to identify the difference between enterprise editions and connector editions?
Yeah.
So what are the differences? In enterprise, we cannot list the DSNs. Okay, if you want to know what are all the DSNs that are there in the systems, you have to go into data sources here. You need to open that window and you need to find out the appropriate DSN that you require. Why? Because you cannot list those DSNs inside ODBC enterprise stage, or you cannot test them also, or test for connectivity also. But whereas in ODBC connector, right, it provides you an option to list down what are all the DSNs that are available inside your system, and also you can test the connection also in the ODBC connector. Coming to the other difference, ODBC enterprise, it allows you to read sequentially and write parallelly, whereas ODBC connector, right, it allows you to read as well as write parallelly. Okay, and the other difference is ODBC enterprise doesn't have schema reconciliation feature. In connector, we are having this schema reconciliation feature. Performance wise, ODBC enterprise is poor and ODBC connector is much faster. Okay, that is the differences between ODBC enterprise and ODBC connectors. You understood, right? What is the difference between enterprise editions and connector editions?
Yeah.
Okay, and coming to the database specific enterprise. Now whatever differences that I told, it is in a generic way, the differences between enterprise editions and connector editions, and they are fine. Now if someone will ask, like, what is the actual difference between Oracle Enterprise Edition and ODBC Enterprise Edition? Now they are asking you a question based on Enterprise Editions only, and they are asking you the difference between Oracle Enterprise Edition and ODBC Enterprise Edition. The differences are something like Oracle Enterprise Editions will give good performance compared to your ODBC Enterprise Editions. The reason is your ODBC Enterprise Edition will use our operating systems default ODBC plugins, right? So you are going here and creating the data source names and all. Whereas this Oracle Enterprise Edition, it is not going to use our operating systems plugins. It is going to use native drivers. In the Oracle Enterprise Edition, you no need to provide any data source names and all. You need to provide to what server you need to connect, username, password, that's it. It helps you to connect to the Oracle database, and it uses Oracle's native drivers so that the performance would be much better. You understood, right, what I am speaking?
Yeah.
I will show you all those things in practical. Just remember whatever I am saying in the theory perspective, so that once I am showing, right, it would be like recalling for you. It would be double time going through that stuff and all. Okay, remember our Oracle Enterprise Editions give very much good performance compared to ODBC Enterprise Editions, and Oracle Enterprise Editions will not use our operating systems default ODBC plugins. It actually uses Oracle's native drivers. Okay, the way we connect also gets different from Oracle Enterprise to ODBC Enterprise. ODBC Enterprise expects data source names to be provided. Okay, the data source name has to be created in the administrative tools, whereas our Oracle Enterprise Edition doesn't require DSLs to be provided. It actually uses server name, username, and password to connect to the Oracle database. And remember, Oracle Enterprise Edition is version dependent. Why I am saying version dependent? See, Oracle in the name itself, it is clear like it is database specific what is it, database specific enterprise editions, Oracle means. So tomorrow if Oracle comes out with a new database after fusion, okay, that database itself is not known to this particular Oracle stage, Oracle Enterprise Edition. So it needs to connect to different native driver of Oracle when a new database from Oracle comes into market. Okay, so it is completely version dependent. Whereas ODBC, it anyhow uses our operating system's generic plugin, so it is not version dependent. You understood, right? When I speak version dependent, today if Datastage is released into market, whatever Oracle's version, whatever Oracle database version is latest in the market, it can connect only to that version. It cannot connect to, if tomorrow if Oracle releases one more database, right, it will not be able to connect to that new database. Okay, and whereas ODBC Enterprise, it can connect to any versions or any database. Okay, that is how it gives you the advantage over generic Oracle Enterprise editions. And coming to the other one, Oracle can connect to only Oracle database, whereas ODBC you can connect to not only Oracle, you can connect to any other database as well, like DB2, Oracle, so Informix, whatever may be the database, you will be in a position to connect to other databases as well using ODBC plugin. Okay, and coming to the source links and the reject links, right? In the Oracle Enterprise Edition, at the source level, if you use Oracle Enterprise Edition at the source, right, it supports no rejects. No rejects are supported by Oracle Enterprise Editions at the source. Okay, it supports rejects only at the target. When you are using this Oracle Enterprise Edition at the target for writing something onto the database, right, there only it supports reject links. Whereas this ODBC Enterprise Edition, it supports
Enterprise Edition, it supports. Are you showing anything, or you're just showing this administrative tools?
Yeah, I'm not showing anything. I'm asking you to note down some of the differences.
Just want to make sure. Sorry about that.
Okay, I will show you everything practically, but before that I just wanted to give some of the differences between the Enterprise Edition and the Connector Edition, and then Oracle Enterprise Edition and ODBC Enterprise Edition. Okay, just note down those points while I'm showing you practically, right? I will repeat this stuff. Okay, and remember, ODBC stage allows you to have rejects both at the source as well as at the target. So Juliana, you noted down all these points, right?
Yes, yes.
Clear. So now I am going to explain you what are all the properties that are there in the ODBC stage.
Okay.
So the first one is something like I have placed this ODBC Enterprise stage at the source, and the next one is something like I have placed the ODBC Enterprise stage at the target. Okay.
Okay.
Coming to the ODBC Enterprise stage, when we use at the source, okay, ODBC Enterprise Edition, if we use at the source, these are all the properties that you would come across. See, the major property or the core property here is read method. Here, a lot of variants of this read method are available, like auto-generated SQL, SQL builder generated SQL, table, and user-defined SQL. Now, if you use table, right, it actually asks you to enter the table name. Okay, let us say I'm interested in reading employee table, right? I'm providing here employee table name, and then I am going to provide the select list. What are all the columns that I am interested here? Okay, I am interested with only two columns, which is employee number, comma, employee name, and then where class I can specify. So it is something like whatever the query that you are going to write in a generic way, you can actually split it and put it here into where class, that means filter conditions, and then select list. Okay, where employee, where salary greater than 2000. So this is the generic settings that we use when we are going with read method as table. You understood how we use this particular read method as table?
Yes.
Okay, we are going to use read method as table in this way. We need to provide what is the table name, and we need to provide what are the select list. That means what are all the columns that you are interested in reading, and then you need to provide the where class. So what are all the columns that you are interested in reading? Employee number and employee name. Accordingly, you need to provide in the columns tab whatever things that you are going to read here. The example is different here. So for my, if it has to work properly, I need to remove all these columns and provide employee number and employee name. Okay. Sorry. So if you observe here, under the connection settings, right, here I am not providing the server name and all, I am providing data source name. So this data source, if you observe, I have created this data source here, right, Oracle. In the system DSN, you will be able to see Oracle here. This is the one which I am using here. Okay, data source is equal to Oracle, which I am using here. See, sometimes the scenario would be something like you need to repeat the same data source name across all the connections, let us say. Okay, you have designed some 100 jobs. In all the 100 jobs, you are going to use the same data source name again and again. So let us say tomorrow the password has been changed for a particular schema, or if you log into, for example, SCART schema, right? Now the password got changed from Tiger to some Tiger 2. Okay, so when the password has been changed, you imagine how much tedious it would be for you to create a particular or to change all the passwords by logging into all the 100 jobs. It would be completely difficult, right? So what you can do, go to the stage. Here you are able to see the data connection setting, right? This data connection setting helps you to load a particular data connection or to save a data connection. Here I have already entered all the parameters in the output page. Here actually I have entered all the connection settings here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a data connection like our parameters, right? I'm going to create a data connection here. I'm going to save a data connection. Once I click on the save data connection, right, see all the parameters has already been entered. It picked these parameters from the output page where I have entered all those data source name, username and password, right? It picked all those values from that particular output page, and I was able to see the particular settings in the parameters page. Now I'm going to create a data source name here. So this is how I'm completing this particular data connection names creation and all, and I'm clicking on OK. So I have created this data connection. Now let us say, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove all this data here. So let us imagine that I'm going to create a new job, and in that new job I don't have all these particular connection settings here. I don't have anything here specified. So this is how, when I am going to create a new job, let us say. Now I want to have all these values filled up automatically. So what I can do, go to the stage here, click on load data connection. So whatever data connection that I have created recently, right, new RAM new data connection, right, this is the one which I have created. Once I click on open, go back to the output page. Here you are able to see everything got filled automatically, right? So you understood what is the use of this data connection. So now I can create my own job once again, a new job, and there also I can use the same data connection, and I can see these particular data connection values being filled automatically. So the advantage is, if tomorrow if a password gets changed, okay, no need to worry, I can directly go and change that value in the data connection, and wherever I have used the data connection, right, there also the value gets changed automatically. Okay, this is the importance of data connection. And coming to the read method equal to table, you understood the settings, right? If you want to read a particular table, so what is the disadvantage here? I can't read multiple tables here, right? Only one table I can read the data. Here the disadvantage is I cannot read data from multiple tables here, and here whatever I am going to write, it is in a generic way. See, I am going to read data from the employee table, and then I have provided what are all the columns that I am interested in reading, and I have provided the where class. Now let us say you are going ahead with some other data, some other read method like what we say, user defined SQL. When you are going ahead with user defined SQL, right, you can write down your query. Okay, you can write a join query on multiple tables. Okay, you can write union queries on multiple tables. It is something like a generic query that you are going to write. Something like if I wanted to let you. You understood, right? This is how we will be completing the query. See, query we can write in what is a generic way. Whatever capabilities that your SQL is going to provide, the complete query can be written here. No limitations from the data stage. So that is how your read method equal to user defined SQL works. And the other one, which is SQL builder generated SQL. So what the Datastage people has done, what this IBM people has done. So let us say people are very much expertise in using the Datastage, but they require some help in writing the queries. Means that what they have provided this SQL builder query as one of the option. Here you can build the SQLs in a graphical user way. When I click on build SQL, you are able to see three things here, right? These three things are nothing but three different libraries which internally this build SQL tool uses. Okay, the latest is this one, ODBC extended syntax, but you can also develop queries using the other two also. Now I am interested with this extended syntax. It actually gives you a nice graphical tool which helps you to create a particular SQL from the graphical user way. So see, here I am having lot of table definitions being defined, right?
Yeah.
So you are having all these employee tables and all, right? Let us say this is the table definition that I am going to pick, employee table. I just dragged this employee table definition onto right hand side. See, here I am able to see all the columns and all here being shown up in a very nice fashion. So let us say I am interested in retrieving only employee ID. I'm just selecting that one and dragging onto here, and then the employee name, and then department number. So these are the select list. Okay, I'm done with getting the select list. If I want to sort, I can actually sort and specify the sort order. Okay, sort order in the sense I can sort it in what we say in a ascending fashion or descending fashion, and the sort order and all I can mention here. Sort order in the sense, see, if I use employee ID and employee name as both sort columns, I can also define like first on which column we need to sort the data. Okay, by using the sort order as one. Okay, now what happens? I have selected all the columns into which I wanted to I am interested in. Now here I am going to use, or I am going to create where class. Select list is done here. So the query will automatically formed in such a way that select employee ID, employee name, department number from employee will automatically be generated internally. Now I am interested with where class. Where, let us say department number should be greater than or equal to or not equal to some 20. I am interested with employees whose department number is not equal to 20. So once I have written this graphical user way of creating this thing, right, I can go to SQL and see, select employee ID, employee name, employee department number from start employee. Okay, here the where class is not being finished, I think. Add. Okay. Once you write this where class, click on add and it would be added here, and go back to the SQL. There you will be able to see the where class. Okay, so this query is being created in a graphical user way. Now if you wanted to create groups, so it is a generic way of developing things. Now if you want to write join class or some other thing, now if you want to write some group by, okay, go to the group class. Here you can actually select the distinct aggregation. You are able to understand, right? Based on the group by that you wanted to perform, you can do that all sorts of group by operations here. Whatever settings that you are going to place here, those settings will be reflected in your SQL tab here. You understood how to use this SQL builder, right? You need to have some practice, but this is for us, I think it is not much helpful. We can write down the queries directly. This would be helpful if people who are having little knowledge about these SQL things and all, right, they can actually use this graphical user interface and to create a nice SQL out of your graphical thing. You understood, right, Juliana?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, Nilma, no doubts in this section, right? So what is the prominence of this SQL builder? You understood it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is what about your SQL builder generated SQL, and the other one which is auto generated SQL. So once you are going to use auto-generated SQL, right, there you can't do anything. Auto-generated means our data stage itself will write a query for you, and it actually asks you only for the table name. Okay, if I provide here as employee table, right, okay, it actually uses this employee table and writes and writes a query for you in such a way that select from employee, and it needs column names, right? From where it picks the columns names, go to the columns tab. Whatever columns you have specified here, it puts all these columns name into this particular select list. See the complete select list now?
Yeah.
Okay, it has picked all these column names and all from your columns tab here. Okay, it has picked the complete columns names and all from this columns tab, and it has completed writing the query for you. Okay, select complete column names and all from the employee table. That is how it is going to auto generate an SQL for you, our data station. Okay, these are all the various ways that you can develop or you can complete a query. Here, right, you don't have any doubts in this thing, right?
No.
So what are all the various read methods and all? Now you are clear about these things, right?
Yeah.
Auto generated when to use, SQL builder generated when to use, and table and user defined. Generally we will go ahead with the table and user defined modes only. If you want to write lot of joins and all, use directly user defined SQL and it will go. 99% you will be using user defined SQL in almost all the cases, and some cases you will be using table for reading the data. Okay, and coming to the options category, there are certain things which you know to this isolation level, I will speak about it later. And close command and open command are very much important in the options category. Close command and open command, how they work. Now whatever query that you have mentioned here, this is the core query of this particular stage. This is the center query, or this is the main query of this particular stage. But let us imagine the scenario, while reading data from the employee table, you should make some prerequisites, or you should meet some prerequisite. Let us consider the prerequisite is you need to insert a particular record into some employee one table before starting or before reading the data from employee table. That acts as an indicator for some applications. You are able to understand my requirement, right? You should not directly read the data from employee table. You should intimate to other applications that you are reading the data from employee table. How can you intimate to other applications? There is some other table called employee one table. Inside that table you need to make an entry like 1 or 2. You just insert some value as 1 or 2 inside this particular employee one table, so that applications, right, it will just look into this table to see if somebody is reading the data for you. Okay, you are able to follow the requirement, right? Any doubts in the requirement?
No.
Okay, there is employee table and you want to read it, but before reading, right, you need to insert value 1 into employee one table. What is the prominence of inserting in the in such a way means other applications will just look into employee 1, and if they see value other than 0, that means if they see 1 and all, right, they feel like this employee table is being read by some other people. Okay, that acts like an intimation to other applications. I gave this example because I actually used that particular scenario in my previous project. There is one .NET application which always tries to pick data from one of the table which we have created. So people can read multiple times from the same table, you know that. But eventually, as many connections are being established into Oracle, right, reading operation is getting slowed down. So what we have decided, we ensure that while we are reading data from the particular table, we don't allow a .NET application to access it. Okay, even though it always provides shareable logs on the table, nobody is going to stop you for reading while reading from the same table. Reading from same table with different connections are always allowed, but if you allow in that way, if connections are increased, okay, it will slow down your reading process. So what we have done, we have created an intermediate table. Inside that intermediate table, we are inserting some value. Okay, because of that value, what this .NET application does, first looks into that particular intermediate table, and if it finds value as 1, right, that means it feels like somebody is reading the table and it stops. It won't read the data from that particular table. Once that 1 has been removed and once the 0 comes into picture, it starts reading the data from the table. So this particular arrangement has been done in order to speed up things. That's it. Okay, so in order to allow that part, what I'm going to do, I'm using this open command and close command. Open command means before executing this particular query, you can execute other query. What is that other query? I'm going to insert okay, let us say this employee one table is having just only 1 column. I'm inserting that value as 1. Okay, so before executing this query would be executed, and it is going to insert into employee1 values. Okay, now once this insertion has happened and once I have read the data properly, okay, I need to remove that that value as 1, right? I need to remove that value 1. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert into the same column or delete that particular value which has been inserted into it. Clear? You understood, right? What is the meaning of the how I am going to fulfill the requirement?
Yeah.
Okay. You understood the overall requirement, right? So before executing this query, this open command gets executed. Always remember, open command gets executed before the core command of the stage gets executed. So my open command gets executed first, and it inserts number 1 into employee1 table. Okay, and now our core stage query gets executed. It is going to read data from the employee table. Then close command comes into picture and it deletes the entry whatever we have made in the employee1 table. So you understood the prominence of close command and open command, right? We can execute things before executing a query or query and after executing the query. And fetch array size, see, now we are reading the data, right? It is something like the number of rows that we are going to pick in a particular block. By default it would be 1, but if you want to improve performance, you can also change it. These settings generally would be done by your administrator at the project level. You no need to worry about that. Even though here it is being shown up as 1, by default that one would be set as 1000 or 2000 in the project level setting by your administrator. Okay, the fetch array size. So it is going to retrieve in blocks wise. It is going to read data from employee table in terms of blocks. Okay, that is the meaning of your fetch array size. And then partition column. See, internally, if you want to specify a column for what we say while reading the things parallelly, right? If you want to mention something, a column on which the partition can happen, you can also mention the partition column here also. These things don't touch it. Why? Because it hamper your what we say, not only the performance. If you are not very much clear about using these partition column properly, right? It would hit the actual results also. Okay, why? Because some columns would be sent on to some node, and let us say the next following stage is going to work on 2 node, and this starting stage is working on 3 node or 4 node file, right? So there actually the nodes repartitioning happens, the data repartitioning happens, and it will generally result in wrong results also. So always be careful while using these partition columns and all in the stage level. If you want anything to be placed, right? Go to the next stage. In the inputs page, you can set all those partitioning things. You understood, right? How to use these settings. I will explain you isolation level in the shortly. Okay. You don't have any doubts so far, right?
No.
Lance, you understood, right? You have got any doubts in this particular discussion?
I think Lance left a while back.
He left? Okay.
I think so.
Oh, he left. No, the thing is actually Lance placed a mail to me. He is saying that Ram, whatever you are, he actually enrolled for IBM classes as well. Okay, from his company, he enrolled for IBM's what we say sessions as well. So he is worried now, saying that I am hearing the same class twice a day. You are also going with the same pace, and he is also going with the same pace. So he is also discussing the same topic, and you are also discussing the same topic. So same topic I am hearing twice, I am not getting additional advantage of hearing the class again and again. So I told him like, boss, see, if you are going to enroll for the class twice, then definitely it will be the scenario. What can we do in this scenario? I can't give anything extra to him, right? I can't skip the classes. So I told him at the end I would be giving you server jobs tutorial, server jobs video classes I would be providing, so that you feel like at least you have got something value add for your money. Or I will give you the complete schedule of what I am going to teach in the next classes, so that based on the classes which he is not going to cover from the IBM, right, you can come and join my classes. So that is what these ODBC and all, I feel like he might have taught him. So he might have left it. So you understood how to use these settings, right? Neelima, you are clear about all these read methods and all?
Yeah.
You don't have any doubts, right? So far you are clear, right? Forget about this isolation level. I will be discussing with you shortly about what is this isolation level and all. Clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Now this is about ODBC enterprise. See, Juliana, from interview perspective, it is very much important for you. Like people will be asking like what are the differences between ODBC enterprise and ODBC connectors. Okay, whatever points that you have noted down, right? Like you can't list down DSNs and all. Okay, you need to repeat everything. You should what is remember all those stuff. Now here see data source name I have mentioned. I am connecting to Oracle using this data source name only here. And coming to the other one, which is ODBC being used at the target.
Okay.
Now I'm using the same enterprise edition at the target. This is very much important. Lot of performance tuning steps will come here. Okay, what I'm going to do here, this is very much important. What is the core property in the ODBC enterprise stage? This one is the core property, read method. Based on that, settings would get changed. Similarly, the core part here is write method. Okay, here you are able to see upsert and write. Only two things are being shown. Now first I am going to explain you about upsert. From the name itself, it is very much clear, like it is a combination of update plus insert, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so once I have selected the write method as upsert, see what are all the upsert mode things that comes into picture. Update then insert then update, just update only, just insert only, and then delete only and delete then insert. You are able to understand, right? What are all the things that you can do in upsert mode?
Yeah.
It is giving you an order. First updation will happen, then insertion will happen. Or if you select this one, first insertion will happen, then update will happen. If you select this one, just updation will happen. If you select this one, just insertion will happen. Similarly, if you select this one, just deletion will happen based on the query that you are going to provide. And this one is something like first delete and then insert the data. That is the, just we are actually mentioning the order of SQL executions. Clear?
Okay.
Okay, now first what I am going to do, I am going to show you update then insert mode. Here in the update then insert mode, what is the upsert method that we are going to use? Update then insert, you are defining the order of execution of the SQLs. That is fine. Now we need to create the SQLs, right? For update and for insert. So that SQLs again you can generate in the plain old way. Either you can auto generate the SQLs using Datastage help or use SQL builder. If you select this one, again that SQL builder graphical tool will come. You can create the insert SQL as well as the update SQL, or you can write your own user defined SQLs as well. Click on user defined SQLs and everything will be in editable way, and you can write your own insert query as well as update query. The order of execution would be first update query would be executed, then insert query would be executed. If you select this update, then insert. You are having any doubts in this way?
No.
Generally people will be much confused in this particular stage. The reason is they will start reading from first property to the end property, but identify the core property. The core property is write method. Based on this setting only, the other setting gets changed. Now if you are selecting this upsert mode, when you select this write method as upsert mode comes into picture, and inside this upsert mode you can select whatever you want, whatever sequence of query execution you want. Here I am interested only with update then insert. First updation should happen, then insertion should happen. Similarly, the next one should be insert then update. First insertion should happen and then updation should happen. Okay. So let us say I am going with insert then update. Okay. I have defined the order of execution of queries like first insert query should be executed, then update query should be executed. The other one is upsert method. Here the upsert method is by default, by default it would be auto generated SQL. Auto generated SQL means you can't edit that thing. It just asks you to enter the table name, and if you give the table name, that's it. Nothing would be editable here. Okay, here nothing would be editable, and everything would be written by your data stage only in the auto generated SQL. Both insert SQL and update SQL, both it is going to create for you in non-editable fashion. And then coming to the other one, which is delete then insert. Here delete SQL comes into picture. First deletion will happen and then insertion will happen. Now it is in auto generated SQL mode. I am going to define as user defined SQL. Now it is in editable way and I can write my own queries here. Clear? How you have to complete this or how you can differentiate between these modes, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't want to insert anything, just select delete only mode. Once you select this delete only mode, right, insert SQL completely moves off and only delete SQL comes into picture. Here you need to write down the delete query.
Okay.
Okay. Here you are going to write only the delete query, and here as this is in user defined SQL, it is in editable format and you have to write down the query. If you want Datastage to write it, select auto generated more, or if you want to use SQL builder tool, use SQL builder tool. Okay, these are all the settings that comes in. Write method is equal to upsert. Now if you are going to have write, okay, so what is the difference between insert and write? Generally asking you this question. The reason is people will be thinking like write is equivalent to insert. No, here to insert something, right, you will be while inserting it will not use SQL loader functionality that is there inside any database. Okay, now let us say Oracle is the database which I am connecting using this ODBC Enterprise edition. It will not use the SQL loader functionality of Oracle. It will just issue SQL queries of insert, whereas this write method, right, it actually uses SQL loader functionality that is there inside the Oracle stage. What it does, it is going to load or dump the values into that particular table. So when I say dump, right, it is not bothered about index creations and all. Okay, so be careful. If indexes are defined on the table and if you try to dump the data into the table, right, it will abort the job. Okay, first drop the indexes on the table and then dump the data into that particular table. Dumping will always improve performance compared to insertion. Insertion is like a transaction being done on the table, whereas load, this is also a transaction, but dumping will be something like more number of records would first be dumped and then commit would be issued. Whereas insert, it will be having count, like this many number of inserts should happen and then a commit should be what we say issued. And insertion doesn't pose any problem if table is having indexes being defined on some of the columns. Whereas write mode while you are using, please ensure that no indexes should be there on the columns. You are able to follow me, right? Any doubts or any am I going something fast in this case? So everybody is dead silent.
Oh, I said no, sorry.
Okay, so you understood about this write method, right? Write method when I use write, and then the dependent property here is write mode. See what are all the modes that are there? Append, create, replace, and truncate. Append means data would already be there in that particular table. You just need to append it at the end. Okay. Let us say there are 100 records in the target table and now new 10 records came, right? The 10 records should be placed after the 100 records. That is how your append works. Coming to the create, how create is going to work in the sense, create will actually create a new table for you. Okay. When will we use this create mode means if there is no table at all in the target, right? Use this create statement. It uses the columns metadata that you have mentioned here. And this metadata it will use to create a new table. So first it will issue a create table statement and then it is going to load the data for you. That is what your create statement does. Replace is something like it is not going to, it is similar to your create statement, but here it is going to drop the existing table, recreate the table and then creates the data. You understood the difference between create and replace, right? Create just creates the table and dumps the data. If already the table is there, right, it throws you a fatal error and your job gets aborted. But if you use replace, what it does, if the table is already there, it drops the table and then recreates the table with the metadata that you have mentioned in the columns tab and then it loads the data. Understand the difference between replace and create. Create means it just creates the table. Replace means it first looks for the table if it is there in the target. If it is there, it drops the table and then recreates the table and then loads the data. Coming to the truncate, truncate means it is just going to truncate the target table. Here if you mention the table as employee, it is going to truncate the table for you. Truncate means it is going to remove complete data that is there inside the table without any transaction related data being stored in logs. So what is the difference between truncate and this delete statement? Juliana, you are aware about that? So you know what is the difference between truncate and delete?
Yeah, truncate it just removes data from the table.
Yes.
Just certain data, not everything, but delete it technically deletes everything.
Yeah, delete is something like it is going to delete the data, but it will not release the memory. Okay. Oh. It will just release, it will just wipe off the data it is that it is being there in the table, but it will not wipe off the memory being occupied so far. Truncate, right? It is not only deletes the data, it will also release the memory.
Okay.
Okay. That is the first difference. And second one, right? Delete supports rollback statement also. Once you delete something and if you issue rollback, right, whatever data you have deleted, it will be again retained. Okay.
Yeah.
If you delete something and after that immediately if you use rollback, data would be again be placed into that particular table. So what happens internally when you issue delete, all those transactional related data would be stored inside the logs. Okay, that is how your delete works. Whereas truncate, how it works, if if you are going to issue truncate, right, all these transactional related data won't be there. You are able to understand, right, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you once issue truncate and if you issue rollback, you will not be able to get the data back. The reason is truncate is a DDL statement. It is data definition language statement. It will not create any transactional data inside the logs. So no record would be there for deleting. Once you issue truncate, that's it. Data is gone. You can't get it back. Whereas if you issue delete, right, and if you feel like data by mistake, if you have deleted and if you use the rollback statement, you will be able to get the data back. Why I'm saying this difference, in this write method of upsert, you are having this delete option. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand what is the difference between delete and truncate. Here you are able to see the delete options, right?
Yeah.
So generally people will be using delete in place of truncate and truncate in place of delete. So just wanted to make sure that you know the difference between these two options.
Okay.
So now you understood, right?
Yeah.
This one is like a truncate is like a DDL statement. Once you issue truncate, that's it. Data is gone forever. So you can't get it back. Whereas delete, it allows transactional data to be logged. So if you issue delete and if you feel like you have by mistake issued delete, right away, don't issue any commits and all. Right away, go to the database and issue rollback. That's it. Your data would be reverted back. That is how your delete works. Okay.
All right.
Now this is one of the important property, truncate column names, okay, equal to true. If I use truncate column names equal to true, right? Now inside ODBC, now if you are going to use ODBC data source names, okay, for connectivity, here I'm using ODBC data source name only, right, for connecting to the Oracle database. Even our ODBC drivers will be having a limitation on size of the column names. If you mention a column name with 40 characters, right, your ODBC driver won't allow that. So in that case, if you use truncate column names equal to true, what it does, based on the underlying plugin that you are going to use, it is going to truncate the name length. If let us say 40 characters is the length of the column, based on the driver limitations, it is going to remove some of the characters at the end and it is going to put the new column name. Clear? You understood, right, how this truncate column names works?
Yeah.
No, any doubts in this particular what we say options that I have discussed so far, like write mode. So now write method you understood, right? What is the meaning of this write method? So when we use upsert, these are all the properties that will come. Just go to the immediate the next level, which is upsert mode, insert then update or whatever way that your SQLs has to be executed, you can define here. Once you have defined here, decide upon whether you want to write the query or let Datastage write the query by using this one, and you are done. Your queries would be there. And if you want to move this upsert mode into write, select this write and you will be able to see the write mode. Here in the write mode, you will be able to see a lot of options like append, create, replace and truncate. You know each one how it works, right? And this option is very much important, truncate column names. If you want to obey ODBC plugins constraints, if you place this one as true, ODBC internally removes the or brings back the columns name size to whatever is what we say convenient for the ODBC plugin. Now coming to the options, here you are having a lot of options again. Close command and open command, I think no need to explain once again, right?
No.
Okay. Now insert array size. Why we, if you remember, what is the parameter that came during read? It is fetch array size when you are using ODBC enterprise at the source, right? So how we are going to fetch? You remember what I am saying? Here in the ODBC enterprise stage at the source, right? If you go to the options, here you are having fetch array size. So what is the meaning of this fetch array size? It fetches that particular number of rows. Okay, if you mention here as 100, each time 100 records would be read in terms of blocks. Similarly, here also you are having insert array size. Why? Because we are going to use this ODBC enterprise stage at the target. To write data onto something, we are using this ODBC enterprise stage here. So here you have to mention insert array size. Here insert array size you are going to mention it as 2000 or 3000. So accordingly it is going to insert the data in terms of blocks. It will increase the performance actually. By default here it has been set as 2000 records. If you set it as 5000, at a time 5000 records would be inserted into the database. You are able to understand the importance of this insert array size, right?
Yeah.
Once you have set this insert array size, if you observe, there are no more properties being defined. So if you remove this insert array size, again the properties, all the options comes into, all the options comes into picture. One second. Sorry, because of this write method, the properties got changed. If I give this write mode, again all the properties will come back. Okay, all these properties would come back. So if I use this write method as upsert, some of the dependent properties will be gone. Okay, so now I am going back to the write mode. Okay, you understood what is close command, what is open command, right? Yeah. And sometimes it also asks you to, now I told you, right, this ODBC internally is having limitation, like you can't give big column names. It will automatically truncate the column name. Let us say if you have mentioned 40 characters, it truncates it to 20 characters, our ODBC Enterprise Edition, if you are going to truncate column names. So sometimes if you are sure that your column names are going to get truncated, provide this length to truncate also, so that it is going to decrease the column name by this many number of characters. You understood what is the purpose of this length to truncate, right?
Yeah.
And the other one, drop unmatched column. So when we use this drop unmatched column, when this property has come into picture, in this append mode it came into picture. So let us say in your target table there are only 4 columns being defined, but while reading you are getting 5th column as well. Okay, you are able to understand what I am saying, right? In the target employee table you are having only 4 columns, but in this link you are able to get 5 columns here. Okay, how to deal in that particular scenario? You have to set this particular option as, sorry, this particular write method I need to change it to write. Here in this particular options, right, select this drop unmatched column. What it would do, whatever data that is coming, whatever column names that are coming inside the link, it just looks into the employee table, and if it finds matching column names, right, fine. If it doesn't find any of the column not matching with the target, right, that column would be dropped. You understood how this particular drop unmatched column is going to work?
Yeah.
Any doubts?
No, no.
Okay, so it is something like if target is having only 4 columns and in the link you are getting 5 columns, right? That 5th column data would be dropped along with the column itself. Complete column would be dropped, and only that 4 columns data would be loaded into the target. Okay. And coming to the convert to native form, don't use this one. It is something like every database, right? Whatever database that we are going to use, in this case our Oracle that we are going to use, it is going to have internal SQL. Okay, see. Oracle can understand these plus symbols and all. If you remember, for left outer join we can write these queries, right? For left outer join we can actually use this query, something like select employee number, a dot employee number, comma b dot department name from employee A. I can use this statement clear. I can use this statement, which is SQL allowed statement, or this particular syntax which I have used to complete the statement, right? This is generic SQL, our SQL query. Okay, this is universal query. I can execute this one not only in Oracle, I can execute this one in DB2 or SQL Server or MS Access, whatever may be the database, this query would get executed. So why? Because I have written the syntax only which abides by the SQL syntax. Now I am going to write something native syntax for the Oracle. Okay, this syntax will come across when you are going through the SQLs and all from the Oracle perspective. The same thing we can also write in this way. Clear?
Yeah.
So this syntax, right, if you go and execute the same syntax in SQL Server, it throws you an error saying that this plus is not recognized. Okay, so this syntax is something specific to your Oracle database only. So what happens when you are trying to write something, or when you are trying to auto-generate a query using Datastage help, and if you use this particular convert to native form as true, it is going to use Oracle's help to complete the query. So when it uses Oracle's help to complete the query, right, it creates Oracle syntax only. Okay, it will not use generic SQL syntax. Okay, structured query language syntax is completely universal. If you write a query using the rules and syntax of SQL, right, that query can be executed in any database. Whereas if you use native grammar language or native SQL of that particular database, that SQL cannot be executed in a different what we say database. You understood, right, Nilima?
Mm-hmm.
Any doubts?
No. No, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, so you understood the importance of this convert to native form, right? Don't use this one. See, I am just explaining you these options category things, right? So that tomorrow if you get an opportunity to perform in Tune, this thing you can increase. So you should be in a position to at least analyze like what are all the things that you are provided to improve the performance. So that is why I'm actually discussing each and every option. But don't use all those things. It will hamper the, sometimes it will give some wrong results and all. If you are very much sure in your requirement, if you want to use that one. Generally, you will use close command, open command, and these insert array sizes and all you will be using. These convert to native form and all you won't touch, and even this isolation level also you won't touch. Okay, you understood what are all the properties that we are going to set inside this ODBC enterprise, right? Remember, in this ODBC enterprise stages, we are using DSNs, data source names only we are using. We are not going to provide a complete what we say server name and all here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run this one. So you are clear about all the settings from ODBC Enterprise Edition, right?
Yes.
Remember, while using Oracle stage, right, Oracle database stage, right, always try reading date format from any table using timestamp.
Okay.
Okay, let us say you are reading a date column from a table, always put the date column type as timestamp in Oracle stages columns tab. Okay, otherwise it would throw error. Why? Because Oracle, right, while inserting things, it is going to insert into timestamp format. Whatever format you mention, it is going to insert into timestamp format only. While retrieving, it shows back in date format, but internally it will be storing in timestamp format.
Okay.
So my job got aborted, maybe. Okay, SQL has not been properly created then. Okay, so anyhow, you understood about all these property settings and all, right? How to use these things and all, right?
Yeah.
ODBC Enterprise. Any doubts in this particular option settings and all? The error is because of some internal error. I can fix it later. Now coming to the Oracle Enterprise. I told you, right, if you know one enterprise properly, that's it. all the enterprise editions would be the same. Here now if you open this Oracle Enterprise Edition, what is the first difference between Oracle Enterprise Edition and ODBC Enterprise Edition? It is not going to use operating systems default ODBC plugin. So we don't require here a DSNs concept, right?
Yeah.
We don't require any DSNs to be created here. Why? Because our Oracle Enterprise Edition, it is going to use only the Oracle's, once we provide the server name, see here I have provided the server name, password and username. Once I have provided all these values, it will use the Oracle's native driver to perform all the transactions. So I no need to use DSNs. Why? Because our Oracle Enterprise Edition will not use our operating system's default driver to connect to Oracle. It will not use that particular driver. It will use Oracle's native driver to complete all sorts of transactions. So for that we no need any DSNs, we need to provide the remote server, which is Oracle. In my case it is ORCL or ORACLE, anyhow. So remote server is ORACLE, that comes with your installation. While installing, it asks like what is the remote server. If you have both the client as well as the server part being installed in your machine. So mention the remote server as Oracle and then the DB options for username and password. Clear? You don't have any doubts in this thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So once you have mentioned everything, go back to the stage. If you want, you can save the data connection and all. You can do all these stuff. Okay. Now here again, all these properties would be same. Read method would be table, and here if you observe, there are earlier what is the property that we have seen in ODBC Enterprise in the reading while reading the things. Here read method we are having. Okay. Inside this read method you are having user defined SQL, auto generated SQL, SQL builder generated SQL and table. Similarly here see in our Oracle Enterprise Edition, see you are able to see the same methods. Auto generated SQL, SQL builder generated SQL, user defined SQL. You understood, right? If you know perfectly one particular enterprise, that's it. You can deal with any sort of enterprise edition. Okay, these are the properties that comes when you are going to use this Oracle Enterprise stage at the source. Okay, for reading the things. The only difference between the Oracle Enterprise Edition and the generic ODBC Enterprise Edition is generic ODBC Edition uses data source name. Okay, whereas our Oracle Enterprise Edition does not use data source name. The reason is our generic ODBC connection, right? It will not, our generic ODBC connection uses ODBC plugin that is there from our operating system. Whereas our Oracle Enterprise Edition, it will not use generic operating systems driver. Instead, it connects to the database and then uses native driver of the Oracle. So that is the reason we don't have DSNs here. We are directly using the server name, and then username and password, and then we will be connecting it to the server. So you understood, right? Any properties that you are having doubts in this page? Everything got repeated. Okay. Yeah. Here again you are having close command, open command, and table has nchar, where. See, now as we are going to deal with database specific stage, each database would be having some extra properties that we should take care of. If you are having table, now it is something like, if I mention this particular thing as true, I am intimating to Oracle that, boss, I am going to read table which is having column types of nchar and nvarchar. If I mention that thing to that particular Oracle stage, right, while reading itself, what it does internally, it processes these columns in a different way, and that way would be changed from database to database. So it just expects us to provide this particular value. Now I am not going to read any columns that comes under this category, so I have left it as false. You are able to understand, right, what I am saying?
Yes.
Okay, so this is about your Oracle Enterprise stage. Coming to the same Oracle Enterprise stage being used at the target. When you use the same Oracle Enterprise stage at the target, right?
Yeah.
The basic method is again the same write method. There, what are the values that you have seen for write method? Only two, upsert and the other one is write, right? You remember what are the values that are there in the ODBC Enterprise stage if you use at the target?
That's right.
This is ODBC Enterprise Edition being used at the target for writing things into database. Here we are having write method as upsert and then write. Okay. Similarly, if you go back to the Oracle Enterprise Edition being used at the target, open this one, and here you will be able to see write method as upset, load and delete rows. Okay, now just see, all the options would be the same, just the look and feel of these options got changed. Upset, you know, there also you have seen the upset, and then their write method is there, right? They have placed that write method as load here. I told you na, there also write method is going to use SQL loader functionality. Here also load is going to use SQL loader functionality. Okay, just the naming convention has been changed from stage to stage. And here, there where in which property you have seen these delete rows in the ODBC Enterprise Edition? Can you remember where we have seen the delete rows in ODBC Enterprise Edition? Actually, we have seen that one in the upset mode only. Okay, in the upset mode, once we select this upset mode, here in the upset mode, you are able to see delete. Right? These two they have picked out, and they have placed outside in the outside of the upset mode. Though that are the changes that came. But altogether, there are no any new functionalities. Whatever functionalities that are there in the ODBC, your Oracle stage, right, that look and feel got changed. They have moved it into write method. In the write method itself, you will be able to see delete rows. Whereas in ODBC Enterprise, you are seeing under upset mode category. Here you are directly seeing under write method category. Okay, here you load is equivalent to write in ODBC Enterprise Edition. Okay, now if first let me select this upset mode and show you what are all the things that are there. As I have selected upset mode, upset order, this thing you know. Here we don't see delete now. Why? Because the delete has been moved into write method category. So here we are able to see only two things: insert then update and update then insert. Now what is the drawback that you are going to see here? If I am interested only with the insert or only with update, how can I do that? You understood my question, right?
No.
Not understood?
No, what did you mean?
No, what I'm asking is, see, in ODBC Enterprise stage, right, in the write method upset, what are all the things that you have come across? Insert then update, update then insert, delete rows, delete only, delete then insert, and then you came across insert only and update only, right, in the ODBC Enterprise stage. Here we don't have insert only and update only things. How can you do that insert only and update only here?
Insert then update.
Here here there are only two options: insert then update and update then insert. But my intention is to perform only insert operation. I don't want any update operation. In ODBC, you can have insert only as one of the options. See, in ODBC, right? Go back to the ODBC. Here, if you observe, here if I want to perform only insert, right, I can do that. I can select that upset mode as just insert only, right?
Yeah.
Or update only I can select, right? I can select either of these two, insert only or update only, if I want any of the single operation. But in Oracle Enterprise Edition, we don't have insert only and update only. But now I want to perform only insert operation. How can I do that? Just what you have to do, select insert then update, or update then insert, select insert then update, and now insert and update queries are there, right? Update query, you just modify it. Here upset mode, I am changing it into auto generated, or sorry, user defined update then insert.
Okay. See,
you have selected upset mode, and upset mode has been selected as user defined update only now.
Okay.
You understood how I am going to do?
Yes.
Any doubts? See what I have done.
What about
I have
the
opened
only?
Yeah, what I have done, I have selected this write method as upset, and then I have selected this one as insert then update. Once I have selected this insert then update, right, in the upset mode I can mention what needs to be done. You are able to understand, right? All these options are there in our ODBC also. They got what we say moved under different categories. You don't see even a single property that came as new thing here in the Oracle stage. Just the properties has been what we say jumbled between the categories. Earlier delete came under upset mode. Now delete has been moved under write method category. Okay. Now whatever you are going to see, this update only, insert only, right? These things were earlier there. Where these things were there earlier? Update only and insert only in the upset mode. Okay, in the ODBC stage. Here they have been moved under this upset mode category. There in the upset order category. Here we are seeing under upset mode category. Clear?
Yeah.
Everything is there. Nothing has been missed from ODBC Enterprise to Oracle, or nothing new has come here. Just these options has been moved under different categories. That's it. Here also you can perform insert only and update only. See, update only, update only. Okay.
Okay.
As this is insert then update. If you change it to update then insert. You're able to understand, right?
Yeah.
So everything is same. Now coming to the load one, this is very much important. Once I have selected this load option, right? Again you will get the plain old properties which you have seen under right category of ODBC Enterprise Edition. Here you are able to see append, create, replace and truncate. Okay. In order to improve the performance, right? Generally load, what it does, ensure it, before using load, ensure that you don't have any indexes defined on the table. That is the first one. And if you use this load, it will actually dump the data into the target, so it would improve the performance. But now, even then if you feel like there is no improvement in the performance, go to the job properties, go to the environment variable. There you are having one setting called apt_Oracle loader options. This property will improve the performance like anything. Okay, it will give very good performance. Use this option, SQL load options. Okay, queue the value, something like this one would be much helpful for Neelima, I guess now.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing what exactly I have to give.
So if you are using DB2 related SQL loader would be there. For that one you just find out this environment variable and place. It would improve the performance like anything. Parallel equal to true and direct equal to true. If you set this one right, it will improve the performance like anything. The thing is, what it does, it loads things parallelly now. Earlier it is going to load in sequential way. Now it is going to load the things in a parallel way. Multiple threads would be running internally to load the things. Okay, that is what the meaning of that environment variable. So now and coming back to once again this insert mode, right? This insert SQL, this one is very much important to improve the performance. Use this insert array size. So array size you can increase to 5,000, something like that. There, what is the property that we have used to improve the performance? There you are able to see in ODBC Enterprise Edition. I know definitely it would be confusing, but understand the options meaning. Don't try to remember where this option would be. Just understand if you set a particular option, how it works. You just understand that point. Don't try to remember in ODBC where this setting would come and where the same setting would come inside this Oracle. Don't try to remember that now. Just understand only what is the meaning of the option. Okay. Now here we are able to see that one here, right? Insert array size. Okay, in ODBC Enterprise this one. Whereas in Oracle Enterprise, where we see that one? Under insert. Under insert. Select this insert. Here you are able to see insert array size. Right? This will improve a performance up to some extent. If you are going ahead with upset mode, right? Use this insert array size to 5,000 or increase this thing from 500 to 5,000. It would improve the performance. Clear?
Yeah.
Can we increase this on our own, or do we need to tell our Datastage administrators?
This one you can do it. No need any help from the admin. You can do it, this one. Clear?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. These things are from developer perspective. No need to depend on the admin. Admin is something like I'm adding that environment variables, right? If it gives you good performance, then no need to add in the job, right? You can directly set that particular value in the project level, and whenever you are using load, it internally uses the option that has been defined at the project level. Understood?
Yeah.
There you might ask some help from the admin to set that setting in the project level, so that whenever you are using load option, whenever you are using the Oracle stage with load option, right? You no need to depend on any person. By default, it picks the project default value, and you no need to even define the parameter in the job level also, as it has been defined at the project level. You understood, right? When we declare actually environment variable, now in this case, I am not satisfied with the environmental setting that has been done by my admin. So that is the reason I am going to the job properties and I am selecting this particular parameter. Okay, and then I am increasing the, or I am changing the value to direct equal to true and parallel equal to true. By default, my admin has set it at the project level as direct equals to false and parallel equal to false. But because of that environmental setting, right, my performance is degrading. So what I have done, I have added the same environment variable into the into this particular job, and I have changed the value so that my job would use this new setting which I have done. If let us imagine that this setting itself is done at the project level, I no need to add this this environment variable in the project itself, right? Sorry, in the job itself, right? You are able to follow my what we say explanation?
That's true. It would be applied for all jobs, right? If they set it, if we
yes.
set it, then it's only for that particular job that it would apply.
It is something like if we add a parameter or an environment variable at the job level, then it is applicable only for that job. If you set it at the project level, it is applicable for all the jobs. No need to explicitly add in the job properties. Clear? You understood, right, what I am saying? Juliana, it's clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So these are all the properties that you come across in Oracle Enterprise and this thing. So just remember, if you understand one Enterprise edition, the same thing would be there for all the other Enterprise editions also. Just remember, those options would be just jumbled under different categories. That's it. But options will always be there, and options meaning is always the same. They might be just interchanged under different categories. That's it. Okay, that is about Oracle Enterprise stage. And coming to the ODBC connector. So here in the ODBC connector, right, definitely when I open this thing, I think you might have gone through or you might have seen that look and feel. See, this ODBC connector is also having all the functionalities whatever we have explained now, right? All the options are there, right? The same options would be there here, but it would be shown up in a different UI. The graphical way it is being shown, that's it. Everything remains the same. Whatever we have explained, all the properties for the enterprise editions, right? The same properties would once again get repeated here. That's it. You are able to follow me?
Yeah.
Whatever the enterprise edition properties that we have discussed so far, the same properties would once again be shown here. Okay. So the same properties as these got repeated, I will be showing you like where the property and how the property is being placed in this particular UI. If something new comes, I will be explaining you. Can you spend 1 more hour extra today, or can we go ahead tomorrow? Nilima, it's your wish. And Juliana, are you comfortable to go ahead now? Already tired?
Yeah, kind of. We could try maybe 30 minutes.
Okay, so do you want me to take the session tomorrow? Oh, no, why I'm asking is this Saturday I said I'm having this commitment to from my company perspective. I need to fly to some other location to train some other batch. So that is completely out of the project requirement. So as a commitment, I need to cover 10 hours a week. So
Okay.
I would be lagging behind. That is the way. That is why I'm asking. If you are tired tomorrow, we can have the session. Not a big deal.
Okay.
Nilima, are you comfortable?
I mean, her wish. I mean, if she's tired, it's better we don't, because she won't understand at all, and it's
Yeah,
wasted.
that is what I'm thinking. So Juliana, then tomorrow we will proceed ahead with the ODBC connector. Will that be fine?
That's okay.
Yeah.
And then
Okay,
if you want, is it possible to move the class before, or I mean, is that possible?
Generally, generally I won't take this long hours. I understand your constraint. It would be more what we say night time for you, right?
That way, at least we will have. I mean, I am free before also.
Huh.
I'm not
So-
sure about Juliana.
I mean, I can. Ali is okay for me, but I don't know about Ram.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Generally in the morning 7 o'clock itself my eyes won't get completely opened. With a sleepy mood I will sit before the computer. Generally I won't take.
For me, it's time to go to bed.
I'm staying for late hours because
Okay.
I'm okay with the late timings. It's all up to you guys what you want to do.
Yeah, we will have the session at 7 only. But tomorrow I will try to complete these ODBC connector stages and all, and we will start afresh with the processing stages from next week then. Okay, next week I don't have any breaks. I can have the next Saturday also. Okay, tomorrow my my deal with the company gets closed. Okay, so tomorrow would be my last flight to that location, so that I would wind up things there. So next Saturday I would be completely available. So next onwards we will have 5 days a week. Only this week we are having 4 days a week.
Okay.
Okay, no problem, right?
Okay, no
So
problem.
tomorrow I will continue with the connector stage, and I will then wind up the class, so that we will be ending our database stages, so that we can go ahead and start over with that processing stages. Okay, guys. So tomorrow we will meet then.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Nilima, then. Thanks. Bye. Bye, Juliana.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Good night.
Bye. Bye. Good night. Bye.
Good night.